I guess I've been searching for the perfect camera this whole time. What if this camera is the one? First, let's start at the beginning.
Well, dear travellers, welcome back. How have you been, my little travellers? Today, we go on an adventure and look at life through the eyes of a fish, just as Lomo intended it to be. Let's enter the world of the surreal and exciting, and answer some of life's big questions, like why are we looking at a Lomo plastic camera, and can I take this guy serious anymore? Well, let's start with looking into what the Lomo fisheye 2 is. The Lomo fisheye number 2 is a 170 degree 35mm point and shoot camera that, as the name suggests, was the second in a short line of fisheye cameras that dates back to the insert date here. The fisheye number 2 is packed with the following features: flash, multiple exposure switch, hot shoe, 10mm f8 lens, 1/100th of a second shutter, rewind tab, and a fully operational shutter button. The set focus distance is a claimed 10 centimeters or 3 inches to infinity. With that range, who needs autofocus? Now travellers, you've been with me for quite some time, and I've taken you on some interesting destinations, and this here camera might seem like a strange choice for such seasoned amateurs. Well, let us put those concerns to bed and realise that this camera has some unique features. You may ask yourself, why wouldn't I just buy a 10mm fisheye lens? Well, the answer to that is very easy. Canon and Nikon lenses, very expensive when you come to fisheyes. They can also be very large and cumbersome and easy to damage. It's also a very big investment into a lens you might not use all the time. This is where the fisheye shines. It is practically cheap as chips and shoots a full frame 35mm to boot. Along with this, the fisheye 2 has a flash and a hot shoot. This really can't be overstated enough. Fisheye photography and flash go together like jam and cream. You can't have one without the other.
Okay, let's drop a knee, change a gear, and hit that turbo button on the old PC and get this video to that next level. And just giving you a bit of prior warning, we're going to bump the level up to this video quite a few times with some new segments that are on their way. But first, let's talk about the history of fisheye lenses and why on earth you'd want to be shooting one now, because they are literally the coolest things ever to exist. History. The first production fisheye lens was made by our friends at Nikon in 1957 with the Nikon f8 8mm lens, which at the time cost a whopping $27,000 in today's money. In the early 60s, as fisheye lenses became more accessible to the masses, the lens became iconic in capturing the Beatles during the Brit invasion and many famous album covers. Flash forward again to the 70s and 80s, the fisheye lens was used in many punk and hip hop music videos and album art. You know what I'm talking about, and if I have to give a special mention, it's gotta be to the Beastie Boys. I know that it's a bit disputed. Some people feel they stole the whole rap and trio genre from other people, but you know what? I absolutely love it. They brought humour and comedy to bad breaking beats, and also they had the sickest DJ ever. Mixmaster Mike, what an absolute legend. R.I.P., what a champ. But without question, the most iconic use of the fisheye lens would have to be, say it with me, 1, 2, 3, skateboarding photography and videography. Exactly, you knew where I was headed with this. Skateboarding. That has got to be it. Now everyone knows Thrasher magazine. Everyone has those images in their head of skateboarding from a low angle, flash photography, and that's what makes this camera so special. Let's talk about that flash just for a teeny second while we dart back to this original conversation. Now the flash on this camera has an Achilles heel, a really bad Achilles heel, and that is the lens itself actually blocks out the flash. This is major no-no. This is no buenos. The lens is stonkenly big and it completely dwarfs the flash, and it will destroy your images if you use it. So either you need to customize the camera and maybe add some kind of extension tube to the flash and kind of get a bit creative with it, or the other amazing thing about the fisheye 2 by Lomo is that it has a hot shoe. So you could have an off the camera flash connected to this camera. That would give you full frame fisheye 180 degree images, or close enough, with an off the camera flash. That is next level, blow your mind kind of stuff. Super duper kaduper cool. Alright, that would be where it's at. If only I had an off the flash that I could have rigged up and played with. That takes this camera to the next level. Okay? Flash photography with a fisheye. But yes, let's go back to skateboarding and why fisheye photography is just bonkers awesome. Now you remember, take yourself back to being a teenager in the 80s and 90s and how awesome it was. As much as still photography was obviously a massive thing, video was becoming more and more accessible to the masses. Now this is where Sony took advantage of this, and they came out in the 90s with the classic Digi Handycam known as the DCR VX1000. This is Hall of Famer, all-time amazing camera for skateboard videography. Now this changed the scene. It had a fisheye adapter that attached to the body and gave the camera absolutely god status 5,000 points. This video camera came standard with a top mount hand grip. It was as if this thing was invented exactly for skateboarding. And back then this was using the classic DVR technology. Now it's at this point I would like to introduce a new segment called Getting to Know You.
Getting to know all about you.
I would like to introduce you to Daman Gordon Sequeira, or at least to his Instagram page, where I first met this guy. He reached out to me when I released a video about the Canon G2. Now, a little known fact about our mate Daman is that he's a bit into old digicams and loves using old equipment that can still pack a punch nowadays. Daman is no stranger to the fisheye lens, but saying that, he also extends out to many other forms and styles of photography, getting into fashion photography, nature photography, skateboarding obviously, even band photography, portrait work, and fashion photography. And to be honest, I have to admit this kid absolutely nails it in all these genres. But it was skateboarding photography that really got me excited to try out this Lomo fisheye camera. Get comfortable in your seats, ladies and gentlemen, because I have something exciting to drop on you. With the ever-evolving and exciting technology of AI, I am able to recreate a conversation I had with Daman talking about fisheye and skateboarding and how he made his start in this genre. So, without further ado, can I please introduce to you my friend, coming pre-recorded live from Hamilton, Canada, we have Daman Gordon Sequeira.
Hey there, bud. Glad to be with ya.
For all the camera geeks out there, let's go through your gear. What gear did you start with and what gear are you shooting on now?
I was given this Canon Vixia camcorder when I started high school, then worked my way up the Canon DSLR range and am now using a 5D Mark II and an original 7D. It's remarkable that 15-year-old gear will get you mag publications in 2024. Those and a bunch of G2s I've gathered over the years.
Now, I know you're all about that skate life, but you take some banging photos of fashion, portrait, urban. What's your favorite go-to?
Well, I've spent a long time trying to find my own style, but recently realized that I tend to just adapt quickly to my environment and what the model brings into the situation. I've been blessed with many situations where the model and I create something out of what seems to be nothing at all when we show up to a location AE.
That's really cool. Now let's change gears a little bit. What advice would you give to someone wanting to get into skate photography?
Great question there, bud. I'd say developing a relationship with your local scene before even pulling the camera out is going to set you up for the most success. You can come in with all the technical know-how in the world, but if you're not able to be personable, people pick up on that and likely won't be so inclined to have you around. In terms of composition and lighting go, studying skate magazines or following photographers on social media is the best resource.
Well, there you have it. Thank you so much, Damien, for being a part of this special episode. It's so good to have a guest on, and what great advice and insight into that industry that you're so proficient at. So guys, please go and show Damien some love. Check out his page and just be amazed, because I'm really impressed by the work, and it's stuff like this that keeps us going and keeps us pushing that envelope, seeing what we can do. So thanks for coming down under. Now listen guys, we've been given some good tips from Damien. Let's hit the streets and see what images we can get. And let's see if we can get some skate shots and really push this fisheye photography from Lomo to its absolute limit. FYI, I'm not paid by Lomo. This is not a paid production. This is purely just passion production. So let's go guys, without further ado, let's hit the streets, get some images, and we'll be back.
Don't get it, man. I've gone to so many skate parks and they're just all empty. Like, come on, bro. Sun's out, Melbourne. Sun's out for Melbourne, and no skaters. No skater boys. Keep trying. Who said skater photography was easy, right? Is this a joke? Is this a joke? What the hell is going on? Why are all these skate parks just completely and utterly empty? It's like, why would you put that in a skate park? Anyway.
So who'd have thought it was going to be extremely difficult to find skateboarders, but here we are. Now, finally, we did it. Finally, we found some skateboarders, and I was lucky enough to snag these lucky shots. Boom, boom. I'm extremely impressed with this. I wish I had some more skateboarders I could have photographed, but photography, that's good English. I could have photographed, but hey, you know, you get what you get and you don't get upsets. Now let's go and see what other images I was able to create with this amazing, curious fisheye camera. Catch you on the other side of that.
Sometimes it's better in the end, and you are the only one that I want. So let's go and take it up with your
What an episode. This little camera, she's a plastic, she's a kind of fantastic, you know what, and she's a lot of fun and she's cheap. Do I recommend you get one? Look, it's for the price, it's heaps of fun. I really enjoyed it. If I'm going to think of any downsides to this camera, the worst part about this camera is it feels really plasticky, and while you're using the camera, it feels like it's not working. Like it's the first camera that I've used that feels like it's malfunctioning while you're using it. But actually it turns out, and all the images turn out pretty damn good. So my review is that it's a pretty damn handy camera, and it's the great kind of camera to take to a concert, a festival, a party with friends. It just feels so immersive. The images feel immersive because you have that bigger angle of view, to me anyway. So I definitely recommend it as a fun tool to get creative with. And also plastic lens, I'm always astonished by the colors you can get from a plastic lens. Plastic lenses somehow give you this more open color sort of spectrum, and yeah, you're going to get some flaring as well, but hey, that's all part of the jive, baby. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this epic episode, and as always, boys and girls, I'll be catching you on that there next one.
The days might come and sever us apart. Without your touch, a microphone.
Oh, Damo, one last thing. What's the deal with you and your fascination with the Canon G2?